Let us all imagine this. Simpleng click lang, chat, or post lang sa online is pwede na palang mag-lead yun ng mga behaviors na harmful or against sa social rules natin. Dahil sa sobrang connected natin sa digital world, hindi na natin alam or hindi na tayo na-aware sa mga action natin na pwedeng mag-lead into negative. Kaya for today's discussion, pag-uusapan natin or let me discuss to you all the cyber deviants. Good day everyone, I am Isa K. Lucas and I will continue our report. Cyber deviance refers to behaviors in online spaces that violate social norms, rules, or expected behavior. So ngayon, i-discuss natin ang dalawang factor related dito, which are the socialization and victimization. And meron pang susunod natin na itatopic. Let us all discuss what is socialization. Socialization is connected to how people are influenced by people around them. So, as you can see, makikita nyo dito sa slide, association with deviant peers is related to engagement in deviant and delinquent behavior. In simple terms, kapag madalas tayong nakakasama sa mga taong gumagawa ng harmful or negative behaviors, nai-influensyahan nila tayo. Mas mataas yung chance na maka-influence tayo at magaya natin ang mga ginagawa nila. So for example, if someone join a group of friends na mahilig sa cyberbullying, online scams, hacking, or yung spreading harmful content, pwedeng ma-expose yung eventually ma-adapt din yung mga ganong behavior. So kapag sumama tayo sa mga masasamang tao or group of friends na expose sila or gumagawa sila ng mga bisyo, pwedeng malaki yung chance na ma-influensyaan tayo nun. That is why socialization is malaki talaga yung impact nito sa atin. Meron ding debate tungkol dito. Una, yung socialization theory, which says that people become deviant because they are influenced by deviant groups. And second naman ay yung selection ng mechanism, which explain na hindi dahil nai-influensyaan lang sila, kundi mismo sila yung pumipili ng group mismo na tugma sa kanilang sariling interest or tendencies. So ang question natin is, tayo ba ay nagiging deviant dahil sa influence ng group? Or pinipili natin ang group dahil mayroon na tayong personal inclination? Ito ang ina-explain ng casual relationship. Now, let us proceed to victimization. Ano nga ba ito siya? According to the slide, offender profiles are associated with family involvement patterns, meaning may mga connection ang family environment natin sa possibility ng isang tao na ma-engage sa deviant behavior. For non-offenders naman, oftenly, kadalasan, galing sila sa mga families with minimal problems, meaning mas stable at mas konti yung serious family issues. For chronic offender naman, they usually come from the families with many recurring problems, meaning paulit-ulit yung mga issues or conflict nila sa family nila. And meanwhile, yung escalating offenders naman, yun yung commonly associated with conflictual and disrupted families or families na may frequent misunderstanding, separation, or unstable relationship. This shows that family functioning and fear deviance can influence a person's engagement in deviant acts. In short, sa environment natin, around a person, whether family man yun or friends, can affect behaviors and decision making. To conclude, cyber deviance is not simply about individual choices, but it's a different factors din naman, such as peer influence, social environment, and a family background can contribute to a person's behavior. Understanding these factors is makakatulong sa atin para mas maging aware tayo and maging responsible tayo na digital citizen. So for the next topic is we have the school and individual factor. So ano naman ito? According to the slide, socioeconomic background is considered a weak predictor of deviance. Meaning to say is, hindi tayo automatic na mababa or mataas ang economic status natin. But of course, isang tao is mas nagiging involved na siya sa mga deviant behavior. However, school-related difficulties have stronger connection to deviant acts. For example, nito is yung pagkakaroon ng low grades, poor academic performance, and yung mataas na possibility ng dropping out. So, in simple terms, kapag ang student is naiirapan siya academically or nawawalan siya ng motivation sa school, mas tumataas ang risk na magkaroon siya ng involvement sa mga negative behavior. So, the slide also mentions sensation-seeking teens. So, ano nga ba ito? These are the teenager na mahilig sa excitement, thrill, or new experiences kaya mas nagiging involved sila sa mga risky or illegal activities. Another factor is deviant peer affiliation. So ano nga ba ito? Means na kapag ang isang tao is mas connected siya sa peers na may negative online behavior, possible rin na may influensyahan siya. In fact, association with deviant peers is considered the main predictor of cyber deviance. So specifically today's generation, 'di ba? Masyado ng yung mga kabataan is masyado na silang exposed sa social media or what I mean is different kind of social media platforms, right? And hindi lahat ng mga kabataan na gumagamit ng social media platforms ngayon is responsible sila gumamit or ginagamit nila sa tamang paraan. So in that case, kapag nagkakaroon ng mga group of people na nag-engage sila sa mga masasamang gawain sa internet. So, in that case, pwedeng ma-influensyahan ka kasi nga, the social media is worldwide talaga siya. Buong mundo talaga yung nakakakita dyan because it is a public. So, subcultural theories also explain online deviance by saying that people with similar behaviors, belief, and yung interest natin to create communities nagno-normalize sa certain actions natin online. So, kapag ang isang behavior is normal siya sa isang online group, possible na ma-adapt din ito ng ibang members. So for example, ikaw is na-involve ka or na-belong ka sa mga group of friends sa internet na para sa kanila nino-normalize na nila yung mga masasamang gawain. So in that case, may isip mo na para sa kanila normal lang. So ang mangyayari sa'yo, there are tendencies na ma-adapt mo din yun and mabu-view mo din yun as a normal kahit hindi naman talaga siya normal. So next we have a internet and computer use. For the last slide, let's continue with the internet and computer use. The slide explained that yung skills in using computer and technology can also be linked to cyber deviance such as yung hacking, piracy, and online harassment. This doesn't mean that being skilled in technology is automatically makes a person deviant. In simple means that advanced technological skills can sometimes be misused for harmful activities. The digital world also becomes a platform where some individuals seek power through social, symbolic, and digital influence. Meaning, some people use online spaces to gain attention, control, popularity, or influence over time. Overall, the internet provides many opportunities for learnings and communication, but it can also create spaces where harmful behaviors may develop depending on how technology is used. So now, let us continue our discussion to the cybercrimes and the role of social workers. So, ano nga ba yung mga role ng social workers when it comes to cybercrimes? As technology continues to work and grow, cybercrime also becoming more common in our society. These cybercrimes can affect individuals emotionally, mentally, socially, and even financially. Because of this, social workers have an important role not only in helping victims, but also maiwasan din natin yung mga situation na nangyayari. Now, let us discuss some of their important roles. Now, we have a preventive role. When I talk about preventive role, social worker help prevent cybercrime or iniiwasan na tinutulungan ni social worker na maiwasan na magkaroon ng cybercrime by identifying behavioral changes, especially among students, meaning social workers warning signs or unusual changes in behavior that may indicate that a person is experiencing problems online. For example nito if a student becomes quiet, avoid social interaction, seem anxious, or loses interest in school activities. Yung mga changes na yun is possible na nagiging indicator yun siya ng merong kakaibang mangyayari or there something is happening. Si social workers is nagpro-provide siya ng guidance and nagre-raise siya ng awareness regarding sa cyber-related issues kagaya ng cyberbullying and yung mga epekto nito. Through education and awareness programs, they help people para maintindihan nila yung mga online risk nito and yung nag-encourage sa kanila na maging isang responsible digital behavior. In simple term guys, social workers do not only respond kapag ang problem is nangyayari na. But of course, hindi pa lang yan nangyayari. Si social workers is gumagawa na siya ng mga ways paano maiwasan yung mga possible na pwedeng mangyari in the future. They also work to prevent them before they become more serious. Kasi maaga pa lang iniiwasan na yan or maaga pa lang is inaagapan na yan. Next role is the counseling. Counseling ano nga ba ito? Victims of cybercrimes may experience serious psychological distress, especially if they become emotionally attached or involved with the offender. Psychological distress refers to emotional and mental suffering such as yung stress, fear, anxiety, sadness, or trauma. For example, guys, is yung situations like online extortion can create feelings of fear and guilt in victims. Online extortion happens when someone threatens or pressure another person online, usually to gain money, personal information, or control over them. Because of these experiences, counseling becomes very important in the recovery of the process. So, I know this is very common in today's generation, guys, right? Marami tayong nababalitaan within social media platforms din na biktima sila ng mga, let's say, for example, so let me give a scenario, di ba? I know common na ito sa inyo yung, for example, sa dating app or sa internet loves, di ba? Ngayon masyadong exposed na yung mga kabataan na nakikipagrelasyon sila sa mga hindi nila kilala within social media platforms kahit di pa nila nakikita yung muka. Tapos, there are tendencies na yung ano na yun, yung karelasyon nila within social media is manghihingi sila ng picture, manghihingi sila ng mga private picture or personal information mo. And then, after that, iaano kanila, iti-threaten kanila na ikakalat nila yung picture mo kapag di mo ginusto yung kapag di mo sinunod yung gusto nila or wala kang naibigay na kabayaran. So that is one of the example of the scenario na yung mga biktima nun is kailangan ng counseling para ma-strengthen sila and magkaroon sila ng hope na makope nila at malagpasan nila yung pinagdadaanan nila or na-experience nilang hindi maganda, because social workers provide emotional support, guidance, and a safe space where victims can express their feelings and begin healing. Social workers play a significant role in both yung sa preventing cybercrimes and helping victims para makarecover sila sa mga experiences nila. Their roles goes beyond giving support because they also promote awareness, protection, and well-being in digital world. So for our next topic, we also have HIV. I know this is common and familiar na ito sa inyo, guys. We have Human Immunodeficiency Virus or HIV. Now, let us discuss HIV. Isa itong important topic, guys, kasi nga maraming misconception or maling information tungkol dito. That is why it is very important for us to know yung tamang facts about sa pagkakaroon nito and yung awareness niya and understanding. Now, what is HIV? So, ano nga bang HIV? Ang Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang virus na umaatake sa immune system ng katawan natin. Ang immune system, of course, diba yan yung nagsisilbing defense natin o yung protection natin sa katawan natin laban sa mga sakit or infection. Of course, 'di ba, kapag umina ang immune system ng tao, is mas nahihirapan yung katawan natin na labanan yung mga iba't ibang sakit. So, ang pinaka-advanced stage ng HIV is yun yung tinatawag natin na AIDS o Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. Dito, sobrang weakening na ng immune system ng tao. For a brief history naman, nagmula ang HIV sa isang virus na nakita sa mga chimpanzees sa Central Africa at naipasa sa tao noong late 80s pa. Natuklasan din ng present na pala ang virus sa United States noong mid to late 1970s bago pa ito mas naging kilala worldwide. Ipinapakita lang nito na matagal nang existing talaga ang HIV at unti-unti itong nagiging global health concern. So now, let us proceed sa mga symptoms and transmission ng HIV. Paano nga ba ito siya naipapasa at ano nga ba yung mga simptomas nito? Ang ilan sa mga common symptoms nito is yung pagkakaroon natin ng fever o lagnat, diarrhea, headache, ubo, or yung rash o mga pantal natin sa katawan. So, pwede rin magkaroon ng sore throat, confusion, weight loss, anxiety, pagiging makakalimutin, or yung depressions. But, importante ring tandaan natin na hindi pare-pareho ang symptoms ng bawat tao. And may iba't iba tayong hindi agad napapansin na symptoms o early stage. Pagdating naman sa transmission, maaaring may pasang HIV through sexual contact, shared needles, contact with infected blood, at mula sa parent na punta sa baby during pregnancy o breastfeeding. And guys, tandaan din natin na pwede rin itong maipasa sa pamamagitan ng semen o vaginal fluid. Pero important reminder lang na hindi nakukuha ang HIV sa simpleng yakap, pakikipagkamay, paghahati ng pagkain o simpleng pakikisalamuha sa mga taong may HIV. Kaya malaking tulong sa atin na malaman natin yung mga facts talaga or totoong knowledge para maiwasan natin and para maging aware tayo at malaman natin na yung information na nakuha natin is totoo nga ba at hindi maling belief lang or perception or stigma tungkol dito. And that's the end of my presentation, guys. I hope you listened carefully and may natutunan kayo. Thank you so much!